right, that intro music could absolutely go to hell right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a live, very late Monday, going into Tuesday morning edition of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you for listening to this at some point or watching this at some point before I lose my mind for probably the next 40 minutes or so. I do need to thank both of our sponsors, Sunny Reds, 1841 Abbott Road, and Imperial Pizza with 2 locations, including the one in the heart of South Buffalo at 1035 Abbott Road in South Buffalo. All right, folks, we are on the video side anyway, live about 5 minutes or so. This game just ended. A disaster. The Buffalo Bills lose on Monday Night Football 24-14 against the Atlanta Falcons. The loss is one thing. The way this game went was just absolutely fucking frustrating. This is going to be the most real show you hear all week long, okay? And this is
real show.
I hate, well, listen, at least this show. I love and I hate instant reaction show because I love it because, again, you're going to get our real-time emotion. This game just literally ended 5 minutes ago. I also hate it because I'll probably have some different views once I sleep on things and maybe come down a little bit. As usual for these shows, I am joined by my good buddy down there in New York City, Joe from Queens. Joe, the Buffalo Bills, again, just, man, pick your poison. In the first half, one of the most pathetic defensive performances you'll ever see. And then in the second half, Josh Allen and this offense just completely, after the first drive, fall apart. We're going to skip all the banter, the greetings. There's a bunch of comments coming in already. I promise you I will try my best to get to those after I unload on what I need to unload on first, right off the bat. Because if I don't get to it right now, I might get lost in the shuffle. And I just think this is very important. Now, obviously, Joe, this game was just littered with injuries and mistakes, penalties, nullifying big plays on defense, turnovers on offense, failure to take advantage of opportunities they had in the second half on offense, some terrible, and I mean terrible, fucking coaching calls from the Buffalo Bills, and that's actually where I want to start today. Joe from Queens.
Hi.
Twice. It's 4th and a yard and a half, okay? It's 3rd, and then on a separate drive, it's 3rd and 1. What do you think are the common two denominators, or the common denominator with both of those plays? Both in the second half. One was a 4th and about a yard and a half, and the second one was a 3rd down and 1. What do you think, off the top of your head, this game just ended, what was the common denominator in both those plays? That, to me, had a big impact on this football game.
Joe Brady got too cute.
Well, that's half of it. Joe Brady got too cute. Guess who wasn't on the football field for either play? Take a guess. I'm sure you can figure it out.
James Cook.
James Cook was not on the field on a 4th and 1.5. You know they're blitzing. They've been doing it the whole game. You're not even going to have the threat of being under center with James Cook running the ball on 4th and a yard and a half. Josh Allen, one of a handful of really bad plays when he tried to shovel that ball to Ty Johnson. He had time to make a better throw than he did. Yeah. But James Cook's not on the field, Joe. But then, even worse than that, you get the ball back, the defense makes another stop. What happens? It's 3rd and 1, and you take James Cook off the field, and you run an end around to Elijah Moore. I am befuddled minutes after this game is over. How you do not run James Cook. If you don't run Josh Allen under center, you don't run James Cook. You don't even put him on the field, and you run the ball to Elijah Moore. Last week, Sean McDermott accused basically Joe Brady of getting too cute. Clearly, Joe Brady did not get the message. Is it fair to start there? I'll finally let you get some offense in here on this podcast. I'm so fired up, but that's triggered me so much right now. Joe Brady's getting fancy-pantsy, artsy-fartsy, some Mike McDaniel bullshit there, man. You run your best running back. The only touchdown in the second half was authored by James Cook on the ground.
Yeah. Their scoring drive in the second half, they they had, I think it was almost even. Like it was 37 yards rushing for Cook and like 36 yards passing for Allen. And yeah, you're right. Cook was the guy that did it. I don't know. There's a part of me that sometimes wonders if Brady gets a little bit egocentric, like he hears things. Because, like, last week we talked about how, or like the last couple of weeks, we've talked. There's been like this sort of like, where's Ty Johnson been? Where's Ray Davis been? In terms of, they're not even getting used. Like, not criticism, but they're not being used. Then all of a sudden, they're both being used a lot tonight. Like, and Davis had a touchdown, and that second touchdown of the day.
Mhm.
But is he doing that to like try to like fuck with everyone with everyone eats, so we're gonna get everyone out there? But yeah, you're right that those are some terrible penalties or terrible play calling, like the Elijah Moore thing. Like, give me a break. Like you're doing too cute.
He had a touch the whole game. He didn't have a touch the whole game, and then in a critical part of the game, it's 3rd and 1. You're down 7 points.
Yeah.
James Cook looked like he was, after getting stymied in the first half. He had 30 yards rushing at halftime, Joe, okay? In the second on that drive that they scored the touchdown on, where Ray Davis finished it off, he had 5 carries for 37 yards on that drive. And it was starting to look like he was shot out of a cannon. He had 57 yards in the second half on, I don't know, 8 carries or whatever, but he was running the ball effectively and hard. And sometimes these coaches, I mean, Atlanta did it too. Atlanta kept Buffalo in the game because they got stupid.
Sure.
A couple times they went away from Penix or Drake London, and the Bills couldn't stop either of them, and they're throwing the ball to other guys, and the Bills caught a couple breaks. But it's like these coordinators, and I don't give a shit about the other coordinator. This is about the Buffalo Bills, this show. Joe Brady is just, God, I mean, it's so hard because on one hand, this offense scores a lot, and everybody eats thing was starting to get really old, by the way, now over these last couple weeks.
It's old.
But just the cuteness. Well, it's like, why do you have to try to outthink somebody? Sometimes it's just so obvious. It's 3rd and run. You run James Cook or Ray Davis even. I would have been fine with that. Run him up the middle. Worst case, you get stuffed at the line. You go for it again on 4th down. But they don't do. They run an end around to Elijah Moore. I mean, they're bringing up guys. They're blitzing. That's not going to work. I mean,
hey, if you want me to put something in, I mean, you're concentrating a little bit on the offense, and I'm sure we're going to get to the defense. But in totality,
yes,
I felt like I watched 2 games tonight that were 2 bad losses. Like that first half, the defense was horrible. I mean, the stats. Like the Falcons, I think Bijan Robinson had more yardage in total yards than the Bills had as a team in the first half. Same with Drake London. Like they were just obliterating them. And then in the second, and it's like, what the hell's wrong with this defense? It was obliterated. And then the second half, they somehow allowed they allowed 3 points, and then the offense just completely took a shit. It was like who can take a bigger shit? The defense in the first half, or the offense in the second half. That's why I felt like I watched 2 games.
It's a great point.
And that shows you that this team has issues. And here's my one question to you, Pat. Between the offense and defense, what's the bigger concern right now for you?
Well, it's both, but the defense is the bigger concern. But I want to be fair. Okay. The defense played well enough, and all right, let me say this, okay? Because I got to go back and I got to look it up here. In the first half, how freaking bad this defense was. All right, the Bills gave up, 335 yards of total offense in the first half. 5 of 8 on 3rd downs. The Bills had 5 penalties for 40 yards. Bijan Robinson had 138 yards in the first half. Drake London had 147 receiving yards in the first half. So in the first half, this defense was pathetic. But to your point, and you're right, it was like watching 2 losses in one night, because the Bills' defense in the second half, they had a punt, a forced punt, a blocked field goal, and a punt before that final drive where Atlanta scored. Which, by the way, I'm not going to blame him for the game, okay? But there's always, football usually comes down to 1 or 2 plays, who executes and who doesn't. Shaq Thompson has a pick 6 go right off his hands. I mean, I could not believe, I was like, what the hell is Atlanta thinking throwing the football? Michael Penix gift wrapped what probably was going to be a pick 6 to Shaq Thompson, and Shaq Thompson just drops the ball. Now, again, I'm not going to blame Shaq Thompson for the loss because it's a lot deeper than that. But kind of what I'm talking about here. Make the play. You know what I mean? The play's there. You got to make the football play. Injuries. Bernard should have been out there. Milano should have been out there. One of those guys probably come down with that football. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but you're right. The defense did play much better in the second half. Joe Brady was...
If you were to tell me before this game that Atlanta would score 24 points, I probably would have took that. I mean, I picked a close one. I picked the Bills to win 31-28 because I thought the Bills' offense was going to move on them, and it wasn't even the case. And I think, to me, like, I could give the Bills' defense a small excuse because of the injuries, even though I honestly think even if everyone was healthy, I think they would still have issues. Like I told you, Milano,
I agree.
I think Milano's shot. I'm not Maxwell Harrison. Like, give me a break. Like, if you thought he was going to save the day at cornerback, wasn't going to buy it as a rookie. They have some excuses there. Not that much because they are shitty, but like in terms of where I was at, the offense though, like Josh, this game, the offense looked exactly like it looked against Houston last year, where Josh Allen couldn't. I mean, Josh Allen had like, I think before the garbage time drive, he had 150 yards passing, 12 of 21 before the last drive of the game, and I'm like, that's all? Like, what happened to our guy? I talked to you about this earlier.
He had 40-some yards on the first play of the game, too. He had a 45-yard pass to Josh Palmer.
And they had a bomb. It was like, oh, shit, look, a deep throw that they don't attempt anymore because they have all these bullshit excuses. They showed it there. But I was telling you this like a couple days ago that I saw like highlights of like a year, like the Chiefs-Bills game from like 2021 where they scored 38 points. And they were showing highlights of it on Twitter. And like Dawson Knox is catching balls like 40 yards down the field. I'm like, I haven't seen Dawson Knox run down the 40 yards down the field catching a pass in years, it feels like. Yeah. And that's what happened. This entire offense it's all short passing games. And I'm telling you, this is my opinion. I think when your game is basically short passing, I think it can be easy to defend. Eventually defenses catch up because you don't have that game breaker. And they don't have that guy right now. And Josh Allen against the blitz, like, going into this game, or like the rhetoric has been, Josh Allen, you don't blitz Josh Allen, right? We've heard this before. Don't blitz Josh Allen. Well, they blitzed him and they caused havoc for him. He had nowhere to go. The offensive line couldn't pass protect.
They were not good tonight either. They were not. The offensive line was maybe as bad as I've seen this offensive line in protection in quite some time. Let's do this. I want to do this. Let's kind of go, because we're both all over the place, because we didn't plan for this. The game just ended 5 minutes ago. I want to go kind of like chapters, and I do want to start with Josh Allen, because, listen, I'm sitting here, and my first unloading was on Joe Brady, and I do think it was deserved. I think it is absolutely pathetic how cute he gets at times. I know Sean McDermott was not very happy with him last week, and I can only imagine after that Elijah Moore call. In fact, I'm trying to keep my eyes on McDermott post-game quotes right now so I can get something on the air when we're live. But I kind of said my piece about Joe Brady, and I feel like everybody else has. Everyone's like, Tennessee's got a job opening, let him go there right now. I'm kind of getting over that. The receivers getting open is also a problem, which I want to get into in a minute. Louis Riddick, who, by the way, that ESPN crew is great. And I loved his analysis. And he was just talking about the Bills receivers are not getting open. They don't separate. He's right. But let's talk about Josh Allen, because I feel like if there's a game where you say Josh Allen does not deserve to get off the hook, it's this week. I thought this was as bad as he's played, like you said, going back to Houston last year. It wasn't even... Well, it was the interceptions too. Although the second one, you can argue it's like whatever, you don't got nothing to lose at that point. But he was not good. A lot of bad decisions. A couple bad footballs, a couple bad throws to Keon Coleman. I know there was one Elijah Moore tried to dig in the ground. It was very low to him. That Ty Johnson 4th down shovel pass. He absolutely had time to take a forward step and get more on that throw. It should have been an easy completion. That's on Josh Allen. I got to say, when you're looking at Joe, when you're looking at who was part of the problem and who was part of the solution for this specific game, I kind of feel like Josh Allen was as much of the problem as almost anything else. Would you agree with that? That he was kind of that bad this game, at least?
Yeah.
That's my initial reaction.
it was a total offensive failure outside of James Cook. Like James Cook had 5.5 yards of carry today.
Agreed.
He was good, and they hardly used him in the first half. And like you opened with, they were kept taking him out on like crucial situations, which was stupid. But yeah, Josh wasn't good today, and this is what he wasn't good. Keon Coleman, that man, I don't, I'm so.
That's where we're going next. I'm glad you brought him up.
I'm so over like. I want Keon Coleman to do good, and I think we all do. We're fans, obviously, but like, that opening game, he looked great. Had over 100 yards. I'm like, thank God. This is what they've been looking for. They've been looking for a stud. He's done nothing since then, and he cannot. He is Kelvin Benjamin. That's what he is, and I'm talking Kelvin Benjamin, bad Kelvin Benjamin, not Kelvin Benjamin from Carolina. He is like he just doesn't gain separation. He's just he doesn't. He should be bigger. Like box out, Brody. You're a big dude, and he just doesn't have the physicality to like do jump balls. And I'm just, this is on Brandon fucking Beane and McDermott too. Because look, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know who's picking the players as well as it's in public. It is. I still think they're together, and maybe one of them has more of a clout than the other. Who the fuck knows? But whoever you want to say, like. This is what they did. They hated they wanted to get rid of Stephon Diggs. They didn't want to have a number one wide receiver. Great. They bring all these guys in who are like mercenaries who play like here and there, and then like they don't. We're talking 180 yards passing, and like I'm just sick of it. I like you got to throw in this league. Let
me go back to Keon. You're right. I agree with you fully. I want to go to Keon because I thought you brought up a great point. To me, it's a Keon Coleman conundrum at this point. Because listen, Josh Palmer, who looked like he was ready to have a big game. I mean, he got deep. He had 2 catches for 60 yards early, and then he got hurt. Dalton Kincaid is out. He's been your best pass catcher this season. Curtis Samuel, if he actually plays, can do some things out there. He's out. He's hurt. They're keying on Khalil Shakir. I need Keon Coleman to be a meaningful number one-ish type receiver. This man had 3 catches for 11 yards in this football game. He doesn't get open. And one of those 3 catches was that pitch lateral at the very end of the football game. A lot of low percentage throws to him. And I'm like, well, low percentage throws, that's on Josh. Well, you know what? The dude doesn't get open, man. He just doesn't get open. He is who he is. And if you would have told me the whole Kelvin Benjamin thing at training camp this summer, I would have been like, dude, you are being such a stupid hater right now. But as you say that, 6 games into the season.
Well, training camp's stupid, and you shouldn't listen to training camp or watch training camp. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to go back here, and again, I'm looking at real time. So you brought it up. His first game, he was a beast against Baltimore. 8 catches for $112. Since then, here's his logs for the season. 3 catches for 26 yards. 3 catches for 20 yards. 3 catches for 45 yards. 4 catches for just 23 yards. And then 3 catches for 11 yards in this game. He has not had a 46-yard receiving game since week 1. That's not, I mean, this is a guy that you invested his high second-round pick in. He's got to make plays. He's just got to make plays, and he's just not doing it. He's not.
The Atlanta Falcons tonight, they were missing their number 2 and number 3 wide receiver.
Yep.
During the game, I fantasized about Josh Allen being on the Atlanta offense with those guys, with London, with Bijan Robinson. I was just like, can we get that? And look, I love James Cook. He's a really good, but Robinson's out of his mind good. Like, he's a versatile guy. They know how to use him in like different situations that isn't just running the football. And what's his name? London Drake. I always get his mixed name. Drake London. Drake London. Yeah, whatever. He was just unreal tonight. I'm like, can we get back to a number 1 wide receiver? And like, I know, like, it seems a little bit like, hey, I know, like, I can already hear cover 1 bros in my head, like, oh, well, they were number 1 offense last year. And I get that. But you know what? I'm just saying, I get that. But like, they're just, when they go against someone like has like a lot of firepower, I feel like sometimes they don't match up against them. I just want that. I'm envious of give me some guys who can get open, man.
Did it feel to you,
Josh
Joe?
Allen had 180 yards passing today.
Did it feel to you like there were a lot of plays where Josh Allen didn't know the blitz was coming, or they weren't ready for it? Like they didn't know what to do when Atlanta was blitzing? when you and I and 90% of the live chat and everybody who's listening to the show at some point was like, Atlanta's going to blitz. They're bringing the blitz, but yet it felt like the Bills weren't prepared. I thought this game plan was as bad as I've seen in a very long time for the Buffalo Bills. I really do. It's funny because it started out great. That first drive was awesome. And then after that, it just went to complete shit. Then they had a really good drive to start the third quarter where James Cook was the catalyst of that drive. And then the rest of the game, just dog shit from this offense, and it looked ill-prepared. And I don't know if Josh was banged up. I know he was shaking his hand. I know some people were tweeting about that. They showed a replay. I don't know if that affected the way he was throwing the football, the way he was making decisions. He was sacked 4 times. I can't remember the last time Josh Allen's been sacked 4 times in a game, and he took a lot more hits than that too. I can guarantee you as well.
Yeah,
injuries.
I mean, it was just the injury. Like, look, I think you're about to say injuries. Like, no, Dalton Kincaid.
Well, Kincaid was big. I'm realizing that now. Now you realize he's important to this offense.
But still, it just feels like, I don't know, man. There's the passing game has been inconsistent for me at times. I know that he's the MVP.
I don't know if there's King Williams in the live chat, by the way. Falcons is the shit Super Bowl bitch. All right, I think we got Atlanta Falcons in the house, or fan in the house. Okay. You say, talk your shit. It's okay.
Just the passing game was just out of sync, and I think it's been out of sync in most of this season, outside of like the first game, in my opinion. It's just been a little bit out of sync, and I think when Josh is pressing, and I really do, and that's why he's making these mistakes. And also
turnover, Josh is back, Joe.
And whatever, fucking turnovers. You know they I mean, I want him to be aggressive, but at the same time, he just doesn't have the dogs up front or at wide receiver right now. He just doesn't, and he's doing it. And
let me ask you this:
they need to get some guys. They need to get some guys going. I'll say this too, real quick, about the game, because I feel like we're talking a lot about overall perception, like with this game. The whole thing with what also annoyed me was I thought Sean McDermott was a bit of a coward, like punting a couple different times, punting when it was like 4th and short and you're at midfield. Like, what are you doing? And then come on, dude. And I feel like you could just tell Sean was scared about his defense. And I feel like at times he was like, I can't give my defense a half a field, because I've always said Sean loves his defense and he's going to give them every opportunity to succeed. And I don't think it was an accident. Like, they started running the football more in the second half because he was like, you guys got to give my
working.
Boys. It was working, yeah.
James Cook was working, and then they got away from it in key parts. It's like, why doesn't, and he didn't do it last year, and he's not doing it this year. There is a disconnect with James Cook and Joe Brady in certain situations. I can understand if you have to throw the football. If it's an absolute, we're throwing the football down, and you want Ty Johnson out there because you think he's a better pass blocker, okay, I can live with that. But on 3rd and 1, or 4th and 1.5 yards, and you don't have James Cook out there, I can't understand it. So yes, McDermott punting. Bobby Babich with some of the calls that he had in the first half with that defense. Oof, just bad. How are linebackers fucking covering Drake London 20 yards down the field? Terrell Bernard, who got hurt in the second half or near the end of the first half and didn't play in the second half. Terrell Bernard, when the advanced metrics come out tomorrow, I'll bet you he was responsible for giving up 100 yards at least. That's, for a linebacker, that's almost unworldly. That's how bad he was. And Dorian Williams, too, and Chad Thompson in pass coverage. We could just go all over the place with
but that's
with
the thing,
this blame.
The defense, like I said, they were horrible in the first half. Horrible. Then in the second half, they allowed, I looked this up, they allowed 108 yards in total offense to Atlanta in the second half.
Most of that was on that last drive, too. Almost all of it was actually on that last drive.
It was. And that's the thing, is just, look, I think sometimes you just have to go back to your old guns of like what I've been bitching about for the last like 5 years on this show. And that's just like, they need more offensive weapons. They can't just have Josh Allen do it on his own.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so no Dalton Kincaid,
sure.
No Curtis Samuel, no Josh Palmer, no Josh Palmer after the first quarter.
Yeah,
well, I'm just telling you. I mean, is this a game where you could say, well, the injuries really caught up to the offense, or do you just say that these pass catchers are just not good enough?
They're just not good enough. I'm sorry, they're just not good enough.
All right, so what do you do about it? What do you realistically do about it?
You got to make a trade. Look, last year at this time, or it was a little bit after that. They were 3-2. They lost. They had 2 shitty games against Baltimore and the Texans. The Texans game was rock bottom, if you remember, for Josh Allen. He was 9-30 in that game. It was terrible. He was not good in this game either. Okay, so, and then what did they do? They went out. They got Amari Cooper, and then next thing you know, I know like the stats didn't like. He didn't look great, obviously, if you just look at his box score, but there were games where teams had to concentrate on him, and then other things opened up. And then the offense clicked for the rest of the way for most of the season. I think you just need another weapon right now because I don't know shit. Like, look, Palmer, whatever, like he's just up and down. Keon Coleman, we just went over him for a while. I don't need Terrell Shavers doing anything. Every time I see 14 on the field, I'm like, why isn't that Diggs? It should be Diggs, and it's not. It's Shavers. And who else? Shakir, like, they don't get the ball enough in his hands, and I feel like when they do, they're all these short freaking passes because again, they don't
three catches for 33 yards. I said in the first quarter, this should have been a game where he gets 12 targets. It kind of felt like that kind of game. He only had 3 catches for 33 yards.
They just need someone down the field. And I don't want to hear about this high shell cover shell bullshit that teams can't the Bills can't throw it deep anymore because of the way defenses have been playing in the league. Give me a fucking break. The forward pass and the deep ball has been around forever, longer than you and I have been alive. You're just telling me all of a sudden that the league figured out how to defend the deep pass? No, what happened is some teams, there's always in totality, teams change quarterbacks, new guys leave that were better, or old guys leave that were better, and then new guys come in, and it's an adjustment. And I think deep down, the problem is, and I see teams throwing the ball all over the fucking field. Baker Mayfield's dealing it, and he's down to his 4th or 5th wide receiver. And he
might be the MVP right now. Josh Allen was Josh Allen was the betting Vegas MVP coming into today. Josh Allen is no longer the betting MVP come next week. He's got 4 turnovers now, by the way, in his last 2 games. So I just want to point that out there. So
you did, and just in general, because now I lost my fucking thought. I had a good point I was about to make. It's okay. The only reason why, the biggest reason outside of they don't have the dogs to go deep down the field is because this offense and Sean McDermott doesn't want to do that. They want to not have Josh do turnovers or whatever. So they throw everything short and it's dink and dunk. And that way their defense can be refreshed, and they don't have to invest in other wide receivers because they can invest in defensive line rotations because they have 75 defensive linemen. It's funny when you think about it. I thought Shaq Thompson, like, he wasn't great in coverage, obviously, but I thought he played okay tonight. He made some nice sticks. He did. But here's the thing. This is what pisses me off. He's like the 5th string like linebacker. Like, he was supposed to be a practice squad guy, and he's pretty good. Where are the Bills guys on the offensive side of the ball who come in, who are on the practice squad or were on the bench, and they come in and they do well?
Tyrell Shavers, baby.
Yeah, exactly. The Bills, they will fucking go and get, like, we need to have, like, the best defensive practice squad of all time so we can, like, get guys in there. With the offense, they're like, nah, you know what? We got Shavers. Who gives a shit? We don't need to go and get someone else. I know we got Gabe Davis maybe coming back at some point. Maybe we could count on him. Maybe John Brown could come back. Maybe your boy Cole Beasley. Let's see what he's doing. He's probably in a fucking bunker somewhere. I'm just sick of it.
I want to make one more point about the offense, and we got to take a real quick break for the video side anyway. But here's the point. It was kind of pointed out on this broadcast. You and I have talked about this before. Do you feel like it's the case now more than ever? Now, they did have the big play to Palmer in the very first play of the game, which was pretty sweet. But outside of that, doesn't it feel like the Bills never get easy chunk plays? Like, everything's a grind, whether it's Cook running down the field, whether it's play action passes, throwing it in the flats, quick little crossing routes. It just feels like the Bills have to grind for so many yards, where teams like New England last week, Atlanta this week, with their star players, guys like Diggs and guys like Bijan Robinson and Drake London, it's like they get these easy 20, 25, 30-yard chunk plays all the time. And it seems like the Bills rarely get that. The offense until recently has been good, and they've scored points. But I'm just saying, doesn't it feel like a bigger grind for the Bills offense than it does a lot of these other offenses that you watch that have success?
Yeah, they want a death by paper cuts because they want to control the ball. So again, They keep their defense off the field. They do not want to score on a 60-yard bomb because that means that the Sean McDermott's 25 defensive line rotation of doom will have to be on the field very fast, and he doesn't want that. So they're dinking and dunking to minimize turnovers. And that's what they're doing.
I'm laughing at some of the live comments. I'm not going to.
Oh, you're not laughing at me.
I'm not going to publish them in the chat. I'm not laughing at you. This for people who are listening. They're like, "What the hell is this idiot laughing at?" I'm laughing at a couple of the comments on the video side. Somebody called Sean a cuck and amongst other choice words. Anyway, let's do this. I want to take a real quick break because we have to. I'm going to come back on the video side. Literally, we'll be back in like 5 seconds. And I do want to talk about this defense. They played good in the second half, and they kept the Bills in this football game. Josh Allen, Joe Brady, and this offense blew this game ultimately, but they got in a hole to begin with because that defense was about as bad as I've seen in the first half. We'll talk about that and a few more things right after this. Joe, you know what, too? The mistakes by the defense really hurt this football team in the first half. First play of the game, Greg Rizzo goes off sides and nullifies Bijan Robinson fumbling and the Bills recovering in Atlanta territory. Atlanta ends up scoring a touchdown on that drive. There was a third down play that the Bills made a stop on and got nullified by a Trey White pass interference penalty, which in fairness to Trey White, who is as bad as anyone on this team whose name is not Taylor Rapp, and I know what Taylor Rapp did to save a touchdown. You ain't got to tell me about that shit, everybody. But that play aside, that was a bullshit call on Trey White. But anyway, they got the ball, or they kept the ball, and they scored another touchdown that should have been a stop. Joey Bosa gets a sack. It should have been 2nd and 19, but Ed Oliver goes off sides. The very next play, Bijan Robinson on 1st and 5 instead of 2nd and 19 takes a handoff and goes fucking 81 yards. Where Cole Bishop, amongst about 5 other players, just looked like an idiot trying to make a tackle. God, Cole Bishop looked helpless out there today. Oh, my God, was he bad. And so was Taylor Rapp. Although Taylor Rapp did make a touchdown save play at the end of the first half, I will give him credit for that. But
I mean, it wasn't even like I wouldn't even give him credit. They gave him a 40-yard play. Like
but he pushed him out at the half-yard line. He saved the touchdown.
Sure, but like still, like the defense was just garbage.
Yeah, they were. They were. Like I said, those plays, though, like they had stops. They had a turnover. They had what would have been a punt. They had a 2nd and 19. But this has been a theme now. What do you got, like 30 penalties or some shit in the last 3 games, this team? Undisciplined, coaching, sloppiness. So you add all that up. Plus, again, they gave up 335 yards of offense in the first half. Dude, Bijan Robinson and Drake London had like 199 yards between the both, 299 yards in the first half. Bijan Robinson, Drake London almost had 300 total yards in the first half of the football game. Where do we start? I don't even know what this defense, but I do want to call one player out in a positive way. If Joe, if I said, what's your biggest bright spot of this football game? If you're a Bills fan right now, and you need to find something good to take away from this game, what would you call in the moment here? We're live. What would be your biggest bright spot? I have one. It's clear as day to me, too.
Your boy Walker was really good. Yes, he was really good.
He is becoming a star. Daquan Jones got hurt during pregame warmups. Didn't play, which didn't help them, all right, because they only had 3 defensive tackles for this game. Deion Walker played lights out. This guy might be the next star player.
He was really good
until he gets an extension, and then he'll become mid, like pretty much everyone else at Brandon being signed to a 4 or 5 year deal. They're great until they get signed, and then they just become okay players. But yeah, Deion Walker was great.
He was really good in the second half. Like I didn't notice anyone that was good in the first half. Every defensive player was terrible. But like in the second half, he made some big plays around the line of scrimmage.
He had 4 tackles for a loss.
Yeah, Deion Walker, he controlled the line of scrimmage. And hey, about time they hit on a defensive lineman that's going to be an impact guy.
That's the 4th rounder, not the 2nd rounder.
Not the 2 second rounders or whatever, the 3rd rounder. Yeah, he was great tonight, and like he had. I mean, I'm sure Cover One's going to have 75 clips of him this week, and no other clips of anyone else.
Be hating on Cover One, man.
Hey, you hate on them. You hate on them too. So don't lie. You just hate on them behind the back.
Let me ask you this: Trey White's a sore spot out there, and you don't need to be an analyst to see that. Now you're talking about receivers. What's the bigger priority if you're going into this bye week? Which the Bills are right now. They've lost 2 in a row. And let's just say you have the ammunition financially to make one trade. Are you trading for corner or are you trading for receiver? Why would the Eagles trade A.J. Brown?
Because he hates it there and he's sick of it. He's gonna like self-destruct and he wants to come here. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I would take him in a heartbeat, but a wide receiver. I'm done. I'm done. You're not gonna convince me anymore about the defense needs a cornerback. I need to give my boy the franchise. The only reason why Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott probably still have jobs. Josh Allen, give him another weapon for God's sakes. Give him
Garrett Wilson just came up in the live chat. That is a guy who is stuck with the Jets. He just signed a very lucrative contract, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, I can't see that happening inside the division. Chris Olave's the name.
Jacoby Myers in Oakland, or not Oakland, Vegas. They're kind of terrible. Maybe he wants out. He asked for a trade. I don't know. I'll take him, sure, but I'm just sick of it. Like, look, they need some weapons. I'm just done with it. This is. I'm telling you, in my opinion, I think if they don't sprinkle some new ingredients in this offense, it's gonna be a struggle at times.
So you think the offense is in more of need of help than the defense? See, I'm not there. I actually
you know what?
disagree.
It's here's how I feel about it. I feel if you play the highlights or lowlights, the defense looks like a disaster. But again, they only gave up 24 points tonight. That's the thing. It's like, okay, they gave up 24, whereas the offense, they're just struggling. And again, my whole thing is simple. And I've told you this since day one. It's something that me and your boy Brandon Beane don't agree on. He wants to build this team around defense. It's same with McDermott. I mean, I'm putting them 1A and 1B. They want to build the defense. They want to draft 75 defensive linemen and have backups to the backups on linebackers and tell fucking Cam Newton or Josh Allen in this case, hey, do everything yourself. You have a running back. Enjoy Ted Ginn, or in this case, Shakir. Enjoy Kelvin Benjamin, or in this case, Keon Coleman. Enjoy Greg Olsen, and then Dawson Knox or Dalton Kincaid, and go fuck yourself. We have to build a defense because he said it. He said it clear as day. He went on, he talked shit to Jeremy White about not adding a wide receiver. Then he went on fucking McAfee, and he went on with your boy busting the Meat Bros, whatever the hell they're called. And he was like, oh, well, you know, the 2000
the Meat Bros.
The Meat Bros. The 2005 Patriots, they won the Super Bowl with defense. He's channeling shit from 20 years ago because the guy's obsessed with defensive talent, and he has to keep building defense. And again, for the 55th time in a row, I've said this. It's 2025. It's not 20 years ago. It's not 10 years ago. The league has changed. You need to stop acting like you need to. Look at all the impact guys they signed, drafted. What has it done for them? Not much. And you want to add another cornerback, this guy? Why? They've added so many guys. How many guys do you have to add? Because, again, defense doesn't win fucking championships. You may have your outlier in a game where, the Eagles, they pressured Mahomes in the Super Bowl, so we should build your defense. No, you also forgot that the Eagles scored 41 fucking points against them. And it did help that you had Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And we have none of that, even close to that. I'm sick of it. So, anyways, yes, I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going offense. Like, if they get a cornerback, fine. I'm not going to, hate it, or a safety. But for the love of God, just for once, give Josh Allen some weapons. Give him some more, man. It's just...
Well, I'll say this. The defensive line can make the secondary better, too, at least to some extent. I do think... I don't know 31 other secondaries in the NFL. And by the way, a lot of people in the chat, including my kid, who, by the way, popped in. I'm kind of mad at him because he doesn't watch the games with me anymore. But anyway, the offensive line, and they do deserve a lot of shit. Maybe we'll get back there at some point. But when it comes to the defense, the pressure is consistent. I don't know 31 other secondaries in the league, but I find it hard to believe that there's more than maybe 2 or 3 that are worse than the Bills in the NFL. Christian Benford is a good to very good corner. Trey White is, well, we all know what Trey White is right now, and these safeties are as bad as it gets. And by the way, Jordan Poyer played, and he was no better than Cole Bishop or Taylor Rapp when he was out there. He whiffed on a couple tackles, which, I mean, what do you expect from him at this point? And I'm not even hating on Jordan Poyer. I mean, I got his little pint glass right here. I'm a Jordan Poyer guy, man. But he's not the answer. And my point is this. It's not Rapp, it's not Bishop, and it's not Jordan Poyer either. He is not the answer. If there is an answer, it maybe is Jordan Hancock, but I don't know. Sean McDermott doesn't seem to have any interest in playing him.
I'll say this. You should apologize to Rasul Douglas because I think he was because what's the difference to
he's no better than Trey? He's Trey White from a year ago. Trey White's Rasul Douglas last year, basically.
No, he's not. Douglas was way better last year. His numbers have been okay. Yes, he has been. Go ask the film bros. They'll agree with me. Go ask Podfather or Mafia Matt. They'll agree with me. Douglas was good last year. The only issue was like Douglas didn't get picks. He was good last year. And here's what I want to ask you there, Pat. Why is the defense worse this year than it was last year when they had all these new guys? Why? Why is the secondary worse?
It's a good question.
I just answered it. Douglas is there. Douglas is better than Trey White was, buddy. He helped out. Yes, he is. Oh my God. You know what? Go listen to Podfather. Why don't you go to Podfather's chat right now in their post show?
I think the linebacker play this year. I think the linebacker play this year has been abysmal. I think Terrell Bernard. I tweeted about him in the first half. I said we need to have a Terrell Bernard conversation soon. This guy makes a huge, impactful play once a month. A big interception. I mean, the Miami game, he does that. He makes these big plays, but on a week-to-week basis, he's getting cooked out there, whether it's in the running game, whether it's in the passing game. He has not been good. Matt Milano, of course, has been hurt. Dorian Williams is talented but mistake-prone. Shaq Thompson is fine, although, again, he did drop a pick 6 in this game that the Bills desperately needed. But I think the linebacker play has been bad, and I think the safety play has been absolutely terrible this season. And I don't think Christian Benford has been as good as he's been the last couple years, which, again, is my point. These guys get paid, and then they're kind of just like pretty good players. They don't seem as good as they did before. Like these contracts seem like bargains 6 months ago, and they don't feel like bargains right now. None of them do, except James Cook. James Cook feels like the only bargain right now, and this is the guy that nobody wanted to pay. Yeah. I don't know, man. Let me ask you this question. So a week ago, the Bills lose in New England, and I thought people were overreacting. I'm like, listen, New England had a good game. The Bills had 3 ugly turnovers that never happened. I didn't put much stock into that. Everyone's like, New England, a Dave Portnoy was saying that New England broke the Bills tonight. All this stupid shit. I wasn't worried about that. I was not even worried about New England after last week. Are you worried about New England right now? The Bills go and they lose to Atlanta. So now the Bills are in second place. By the way, the Bills are 4th in the AFC if the playoffs were to start right now. Are you concerned about, are the Buffalo Bills in your mind right now as we go into a bye week, are the Bills in a dogfight for the AFC East?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're tied with them right now, and they have a pretty lax schedule, I believe, New England does. Yeah.
You want me to tell you what? You just said it. You're right. First of all, they beat the Bills. Secondly, I was just looking at some of the remaining games. They play at Tennessee. They're at home against Cleveland. They play the Jets twice. They're at home against Miami. They're at home against the Giants. They play Buffalo again in Foxborough. I think the Bills are in a fight. But are we giving too much, or are we not, I should say? Even we're not talking about injuries like they're not a big deal. I don't know how you could look at this game and say the injuries weren't a big deal. No Milano. Daquan Jones this game. No Kincaid. No Palmer after the first quarter. Bernard in the second half. Lots of injuries, man.
Okay. Matt Milano's done. I've been telling you that for like a year and a half. He just cannot stay healthy. So even if he's there, he's going to get hurt. He's not the same Matt Milano as he used to be. I know you saw him in training camp with all the football bros, and you were like, he looks good all pro season. He's going to be my impact guy. No, he's done. So his loss isn't that big. If he was the loss from 2021, sure, it would be big, but he's not the same guy. Your boy Daquan Jones, my God, Pat.
He popped his calf. He's in a walking boot. He's in a walking boot, and he popped his calf during warm-up, so it's a significant injury for him.
Yes, but Pat, we've been talking about getting rid of Daquan Jones for 2 off seasons. Do not act like he's invincible and he was a huge loss for them. Come on, okay? Who else did you overrate just now? Your boy Palmer, Jesse Palmer, or Jordan Palmer, whatever the hell his name is.
Joshua Palmer, who had
Josh
60
Palmer.
yards in the
Yeah.
first quarter.
Yes.
Dalton Kincaid.
Okay,
I mean, these are
Dalton,
pass catchers who get open, dude.
Hold on. Okay, well, Palmer, I'm not giving you credit for. Okay, like he did catch one deep ball. Thank God. You know, great. He'll get that separation stat that all the nerdalytics people love on that. But yeah, missing Dalton, sure. But come on, dude. Atlanta, hold on, man. You're acting like Atlanta is like this powerhouse team. Atlanta got shut out by the Carolina Panthers.
I know.
30-0. So don't sit here and start jerking them off and being like, oh, they're like come on. Atlanta's a nice team. Like, you know, they just come on. Like, I'm not gonna the injuries are a little bit of it, but like, no. You got to win this game.
I'm not saying that's. I'm not saying that's why I'm not giving him a pass. I'm just saying.
But you want me?
You're
just saying you should. It wasn't a factor.
It was a factor. I think Kincaid and Palmer and Samuel, all three of those guys who are probably the three best guys at getting open.
Curtis Samuel, the guy who's been a healthy scratch for a month, and he came back.
He was not a healthy scratch, but he never stays healthy. He's the Mateus Samuelson of the Buffalo Bills. That's what I said. Dude's always hurt. You can never count on him.
What are you talking about? Oh my God! Whatever. You were just you must have listened to Podfather between your break and to hear him say that injuries. No.
Putting a bow on this game.
Thank God.
Joe Brady, to me, is a big problem, and I'm concerned about that going forward. I'm starting to get a little concerned about Josh Allen. I'm not going to lie. It seems like he's getting a little bit itchy. Like that patience that he had to take the check down and take what the defense gives him, I think he's getting frustrated. I don't know if he's frustrated by the calls. I don't know if he's frustrated by the defense not making a stop. Well, they did in the second half, but like in the first half, I don't know if guys they're not getting open. I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't look like the same Josh Allen as last year, if that makes sense. And I'm not even talking about the numbers. I'm not even talking about the numbers. I'm just talking about, I don't know. It just seems there's something about Josh Allen that doesn't feel right.
I don't know. I feel like he just doesn't have enough weapons. And we went through this last year at this time. At this time last year, they were 4-2. They just made the Cooper trade. They just beat Tennessee, I believe, where Cooper had a really good game. And like I said, it feels a lot like the Texans game, where the offense was dormant, and then like Josh Allen looked broken. He was 9 of 30 in that game, if you remember.
No, that was brutal. Yeah,
it was brutal. That's why. Look, the bye week's here. Your boy Brandon Beane needs to he has to find ways to improve. Josh Allen is your bell cow. He is your franchise. Help the man out. Stop trying to build your stupid defensive line. If they're going to do any trade, no more. Please get him a wide receiver. Jacoby Myers, the Raiders, here. Get him. Name another wide receiver they can trade for that's like wants out of that's in a shitty team. It's inside of an extension. Just do something for the poor guy, man.
Let's say they do, okay? Good. I'm trying to think about this economically and roster-wise.
Fuck the
no, come on. Let's say that Jacoby Myers. Let's say Chris Olave. Let's say that Rashid guy from New Orleans as well, the speed guy.
Olave, too.
Yeah. If they go get one of those guys, who are they getting? Shavers? I mean, never mind. I just kind of answered my own question. You get rid of Shavers. There's no question about that. You definitely get rid of Shavers. You get rid of Shavers. I don't care that he can block.
How will the Camp Bros live without Shavers? Yeah.
Okay. What's a problem on this offense right now that's beyond this game? Beyond this game, you're saying it's just guys not getting open. I think Keon Coleman is a problem to me beyond this game because he's going to have a couple moments. He's going to have a couple games, but to me, if he's your number one or your number two targeted guy, I don't think your offense is going to be very successful. To me, he's a third or fourth receiver on a good football team, on a good offense. Does that sound fair to you? Like Keon Coleman should be like your third option, maybe your fourth on this offense. He should be.
Yeah, third option, sure. I mean, I guess. I mean, that's not great.
Tooch says Adam Thielen. Hey, man, bring him in. Somebody who could get open. I don't know.
Bring back Diggs. Trade. I can't believe New England's in the tie with them. It's just a frustrating. I just can't believe how. And look, it's the second week in a row the offense hasn't looked great. And
panic mode. It's panic mode time for Bills Mafia.
And it's a little bit like
last year.
Those. Yeah, but no, I was going back to like the first 4 weeks. We sat here or like they're 4-0, and then do we feel like we're nitpicking? And then it's like the things that we were nitpicking about have come to fruition. Being a little bit worried about the passing game, being a little bit worried about the defense here, and like the defense has been a disaster. Outside of that Jets game, they've been a disaster for most of this year. But they've done what they've kind of have done, which is like, hey, you know what? They only allowed 23 points against New England. That's not terrible. Hey, they only allowed 24 points against Atlanta. That's not terrible. But the problem is if you just look at the points thing, which I just did, they're getting controlled. And when you're controlling the defense, Josh Allen's not getting on the field. Like the time of possession wasn't in their favor. And like, it's like barely, like I barely saw, when I told you initially, like this was like watching two bad games with the offense being terrible in the second half, the offense or the defense being bad in the first half. The thing about the offense in the first half, we never saw them. We saw them like one drive, and I don't even know what happened. They like barely were back on the field because the Atlanta team just brought back everything. I know you're looking at the comments there, Salfie.
I am, because I'm thinking that what we've been talking about this whole episode almost feels like a carbon copy, a copy and paste of last year against Houston, where they lost for a second straight week after they were, I think, 3-0 to start. Then bam, they're 3-2. Two ugly losses for sure. One-sided losses where the offense looked shitty, and we were questioning the offense, and then the offense went on what ultimately became, look, last year was the best offense statistically this team has ever had. And it's weird because this team feels a lot like last year's team to me. But I will say this. If you want to be critical of the Buffalo Bills from outside the organization here, who have they beat this year? Like, who have they beat? They beat the Jets. They beat Miami, and they beat the Saints. Those teams suck, and they beat the Ravens, who are dead right now. I mean, that was a good game, but...
I mean, the Ravens have injuries, too. I don't know. Let me ask you this. Who is under more pressure right now? Brady or Babbage? Like, who is under the gun more between those two?
It's a good question. I don't think either of them are under the gun or under pressure.
What do you mean you don't think you just complained about them the whole time? What do you mean?
Oh, I have. I don't think Sean McDermott will do a single thing about it.
I think you're full of shit. I think I could see if they have another. I kept seeing stinker. I mean, if they have another epic failure, I could see him taking his play calling duties away. He did it. He's done
Joe
it
Brady's or Bobby Babbage?
Babbage. Like in terms of like, I could see him saying, "I'm calling the plays. You could go sit back and chill out and call third down defense or something." I could see that happening. I don't know. I mean, it's the one thing Sean can control. I mean, he's got his fingerprints on both sides of the ball in his weird way, like I told you, because they want to run the football, they don't want to do short passes. I think it's more about Sean McDermott. But I just think who are you more pissed off at? I should ask that question.
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady, you more pissed off?
Joe Brady. You can't not have fucking James Cook out there in critical parts of the game. Now, again, is it 4th and 4, 4th and 5? Yes, then I would understand that. It's 3rd and 1, and you call an end around to Elijah Moore. I'm going to get worked up all over again, just like I did in the first minute of this freaking show, thinking about that, where you take James Cook out of the football game and you run Elijah Moore. If anything, you should have James Cook in the game, even if you're going to run Elijah Moore, because maybe you think James Cook's getting in the middle, and then you pop it out to Elijah Moore, which still would have been an absolutely stupid call. They did this shit last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever that was, and it was dumb then, and it's stupid now. And to not have him out there on 4th and 1.5 yards or 3rd and 1 when he is clearly the most consistent player on this offense this year. Joe, if there's been one change through 6 games, I'll say this. James Cook, not Josh Allen, is the most consistently good player on the Buffalo Bills so far this season. Do you agree with that? I think Josh Allen's been wildly inconsistent the last couple weeks.
The last 2 weeks he has been, yeah. I mean, he's still the best player on the
he's the best player. I'm saying James Cook's been consistently the most reliable player on this team this season.
He's been valuable for them, without question. But I think a byproduct, the issue is that he doesn't have anyone really to throw it to, and the passing game is just, it is struggling. It's just struggling right now. And
my boy is going to agree with you too, by the way. He says, can't have time of possession when the offense goes 3 and out. Can't ask for more from your defense tonight. They had 4 chances to score 1 touchdown in the second half and couldn't get it done. Yeah, they had the ball 4 times and they didn't get into the end zone, man. So,
by the way, I hate your font, by the way. This cursive thing sucks that you
Yeah,
post.
you know what? I might change this after this. I'm
Please
not a
change
big
it.
fan either.
It looks like it's what are we, a comic book? Get out of here. Anyway.
Do we have to? We're not going to talk about the Sabres, are we?
Oh my God!
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I can do it because I haven't had takes. I missed.
No.
What? I can't, or I can do it. I can do what I want. You're not my boss. Well, she's in bed right now. That's my boss. Okay. Yeah. The Sabres. I'll make it short and quick. The Sabres stink. I feel bad for the fans. They're an embarrassment. Hey, the goalie's good-ish, and they can't get any. Their scoring chances are terrible. They're just shooting the puck from the blue line and like praying it bounces off a butt. Everyone's getting hurt. Tage Thompson is lazy, but he wants us to be.
You're stealing my takes now.
Yeah, well, you stole those from Tone Pucks, I'm sure, or someone else. But they're just they're a disaster, and I can't believe it. This was like the worst Buffalo Sports Monday in a long time.
This was a bad fucking day, man. By the way, the Sabres are 0-3. They've been outscored 11-2 this year. And they're 0-11 on the power play. Analytics, folks. All the analytics dorks before the season were pegging the Sabres to make the playoffs. They've been outscored 11-2. I can't do it. I've had my fill with the Bills. Not today, maybe later in the week.
Are we missing anything from the game before we go to Flushmore? Am I missing anything that we have not gone through?
No, because other than bright spots, and like I said, Deion Walker is the only legit bright spot that I could come up with. I'm very disappointed in the offensive line. I thought that the offensive line was a big disappointment in this game, and I feel like they deserve some criticism, and they don't get a lot of it.
There was one play I remember where I think it was like 3rd and 1, and they did a very slow developing play of the Bills, like a play action that was super slow, and the Falcons blitzed it, and like Josh got killed because it was just a slow developing play action.
They were outcoached this game.
And then the other thing too, like against the Bills, and you'll probably see this in the film when you watch it. I felt like the Bills had issues with like stretch plays. Anything that went to the outside with Robinson, they had no answer for.
And the tackle.
I was about to say that. You stole my heat as always. The tackling was terrible today. Again, and we've seen this before. The tackling is bad. And I think when you miss tackles, it's one thing you have a bad week and you miss tackles, but you're missing them constantly. That tells me you're not good.
It's the safeties too. It's the safeties. Bishop and Rapp are two of the worst tacklers I can remember on this defense. They're bad. They're that bad. They really are.
And Oliver was bad. He had a sack tonight. I mean, he was solid.
First game back, missing time. I'm not going to hate on Ed. Ed was fine. Bosa had a play. Groot had a blocked field goal. The defensive line was okay. It was the second and third level of the Bills' defense that was just pathetic tonight.
Well, that's the thing. And, going back to your boy Bean, like, for 5-6 years, I felt from like 2018 to 2022, you look at the Bills' defensive stats. They were always in that top 10 in scoring defense, and they were decent. And that backbone were players that Brandon Beane had nothing to do with. I'm talking Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Trey White, Matt Milano. Those were the 4 pillars, and then Ed Oliver here and there, and then whatever. It was those 4 guys. And now that those 4 guys are basically dead, or like they're hurt, retired, whatever you want to call, the defense has gone to shit. And that's where, I don't know who picked those guys, whether it was Doug Whaley or Sean McDermott or freaking Kim Pagula. I don't know. But like those 4 trios, those 4 guys were the biggest reason that defense held its own for a couple years. And all of a sudden, dude, that back 7 is a disaster. It's a disaster. And I would part of it is injuries, but like it's a disaster. And your boy Benford, man, he's been struggling a little bit this year, man. I would like for us next Sunday when we do our typical Sunday night live show on the video side, I think we should spend some time really dissecting. We're giving a lot of heat off, deservedly so, to Sean McDermott and to his coordinators. And I would like to, and we won't do it tonight because we're too late into the show, but I would really like to take a little more of an examination than Brandon Beane. This is the kind of game, Joe, Reddick and Orlowski, they're talking about Atlanta just having a couple more star players, impact players making impactful plays. And you look at this build, like these last 2 games, and I'm not going to say that these draft picks don't
turn out to be good. They very well may be, but we're 5-6 games. It would sure be nice for a first, a second, or a third round rookie to have a significantly positive impact in a football game where a player or two can be the difference. And the Bills just ain't getting none of that. They're not getting any of it. The last 2 years, these last 2 drafts have been awful. Keon Coleman, you called him Kelvin Benjamin tonight on the show. I honestly don't think you're that far off. I think Cole Bishop belongs on the bench. Okay, those are your top 2 picks from last year. Max Harrison, I almost called him Kyrie Elam. I sure hope he ain't Kyrie Elam. Max is hurt. That's unfair. TJ Sanders is hurt now, but you know what? He did nothing for 4 weeks before that. Landon Jackson is barely even playing. He's your 3rd round pick. It would sure be nice to see one of these early picks from the last 2 years contribute in a positive, meaningful way to a Bills game, and they're not getting that. And that is on Brandon Beane and his staff. So, I don't know, man. To me, it's some of the contracts, too. Some bad contracts on this team, too. Curtis Samuel, Dawson Knox. There's probably a few others can't think of right now that are going to be really hard to get out of, or they've been hard to get out of, that aren't good deals. And
yeah,
I don't know, man.
One thing I just saw on Twitter, the Bills have allowed 12 sacks this year. They allowed 14 last year.
That's 4 times tonight, man. Sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, they're 2 away from eclipsing last year's number. Am I doing Flushmore now with the Falcons, please?
If you want. You put in the work, I guess I should let you reap the rewards. For people who are still around or new to this podcast, instead of doing a Mount Rushmore, the best of everything, every week Joe has been doing a Mount Flushmore, the worst of everything every week. I kind of feel like you might be able to add this game if you really wanted to, but this is Bills Atlanta, worst memories, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember any old Atlanta games, but maybe there might be a few people in the live who do.
Yeah, and live chat, please feel free to add your memories and ask us questions. Maybe Pat wants to ask questions at the end. So Atlanta, obviously they play the Bills like every 4 years, it seems like, even though they change the schedule. I will always remember 89. This was my first year being a Bills fan, and they played in Atlanta at Fulton County Stadium where the Braves used to play. It was the baseball field, and the Bills were like 7-2 or something like that. They were a good team, but the Falcons were doo-doo. And the Bills somehow lost this game. They lost like on the last second field goal by a barefooted kicker, I remember. But the one play I remember in that game was Don Beebe returned a kickoff, and he was a rookie. He busted through, almost scored a touchdown, but he got caught from behind by Deion Sanders. And it's like one of those, it's like the craziest thing. Like, you got 2 of the fastest guys ever. But that was during the bickering Bills thing, and it sucked, and whatever. Moving on, let's go. This one, there's going to be a backstory to this, and you're either going to laugh your ass off or,
probably not.
You know what? Fuck you. I'm more funnier than you are, I'll tell you that much. 2001, I was a 21-year-old who, one of the things I'm very happy about when I moved out of Buffalo was I was definitely a very hardcore drinker, and it was very bad. And I was also one of those idiots like you who would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to drive drunk, which kids do not do. I did that all the time in college. This was before Uber, when that asshole Liberty cab would charge you $70 to go down the street. So I was like, well, I'm not paying that. I'm a college kid. So I got shit-faced, and I ended up driving home, and I crashed my car. And I crashed it while driving. I hit the guardrail. About 5 minutes from home, the freaking tire tread spins out. My car is just, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I'm going to get a DWI if I don't get home. So I drove the car home. It's shaking like this, like it's vibrating. So I'm like that. I get home. I get in the garage. I'm wasted. I walk into my parents' bedroom. My mom's there. I'm drunk. It's like 4 a.m. I go, hey, Mom, I crashed the car. Good night. And she's like, what? So then I go in the room, passed out, my bedroom, passed out. Next thing I know, I'm like half awake at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then all of a sudden, a vacuum is in my bedroom, and it's on. And a broom is hitting me across the head while I'm hungover, and it's my mom. And she's like, "Get the fuck up! You're cleaning the house right now." I'm like, "Okay, sure, fine." And she's like, "And you're going to work today," because she had the pizzeria. "And you're going to work right now." So I clean the house. I go to the pizzeria. My one employee, who was a friend of mine, he lives above the pizzeria, and I'm like dying. I'm like, I have to go upstairs. So I go upstairs and I put the Bills and Falcons game on. And this is one of those weird games where I kept passing out, waking up, passing out, waking up. And all I remember in this game was the Bills lost in overtime. Van Pelt was the quarterback, and Sean Bryson, who had like a 70-yard run. So that's all I remember. That was a terrible game, a terrible day for me. And yeah, I kids use Uber, and that's it. You'll probably remember this game that I'm going to talk about, 2004.
Hold on. Is there a statute of limitations on you driving drunk like that? How long ago was that? 20-some years ago, though?
Yeah, it was 2021. I mean, my mom had told this. Yeah, well, who am I going to get DWI? I can't now. I mean, like,
DWI for 20-some years ago. All right, go ahead, man.
Come and fuck me up. And then 2005, Bills Falcons. You will remember this game once I start talking about it. Takeo Spikes gets hurt, tears his ACL.
That was Atlanta?
That was Atlanta, yeah. Mike Vick was the quarterback, and it was JP's like fourth start of his career, and he was terrible in that game. And I think he got benched the next game because they played the Saints in Texas. That was when the Saints, Hurricane Katrina happened, and they would move to Texas to go play in San Antonio. But that game, Spikes got hurt. I will always remember being at McFadden's at the Bills bar watching it, and all of a sudden, like the play happened, and they shot back to Takeo Spikes, who looked like he got shot, and he was on the ground. And everyone in McFadden's went, oh, like it
sucks.
It sucked, and that ruined that poor man's career. And Vic was great in that game, and Lossman was terrible, and that was that memory. And then finally, 2009. Again, I'm remembering this off the top of my head because I don't look up shit. The Bills lost 30-3. It was like the road finale. Brian Brom, you remember him? I am sure you had hot takes about Brian Brom when he was the practice squad quarterback. You were like, "Oh, he's going to be the man. We got to put the film on." Brian Galliford even said he's great. Let's see this. And then
Galliford.
And he was
shout out Buffalo Rumblings. Yes.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he was terrible in that game, and they lost 30-3. The only thing I remember was he threw like a wounded duck to Terrell Owens in the end zone and then it got picked off. That's the only thing I remember, but that was a terrible game. So those are the four bad. Like, obviously one game was worse because, like I said, my mom blasted me and hit in the head and beat the shit out of me with a broom. It was like, you asshole. She actually, I'll say this, and this is how great of a mom she is. She took the fall for it where she called. She doesn't have a car anymore. She called the insurance and she said like, "Oh, a deer came out and like hit my car and I crashed it," because she didn't want me to get because it was the car was under her insurance. So she did a solid for her son, who was a drunk who so anyway,
let me get to a couple comments and questions before we call it a night here. Steve Noble said when DaQuan Jones comes back, he lost his starting role to Walker. Well, yes and no, because like Joe says all the time, the Bills like to have their 17-man defensive line rotation of doom. You know what's funny is this team felt overloaded with defensive tackles before the season started, and now they can't get 4 healthy ones. So they get Ed Oliver back. They're going to get Larry Ogunjobi back after finally from a suspension, but they're still not going to have a 4th healthy one because it looks like DaQuan Jones might miss some significant time. Again, he was in a walking boot after this game. Met Fan Man says, I'm not a big emotional Bills game watcher, but this game broke me. I think there needs to be a structural change in philosophy and execution and in personnel. This defense falls short. I just, without getting into all of it again, that's a good comment. Thank you for that. What are you going to, you're 7 weeks into the season. I mean, how much can you realistically change halfway through a football season? This defense is what it is. This is their personnel. Maybe they add a cornerback. Maybe Max Searson gets back sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks from injury. But by and large, this is their defense. It's Rapp, it's Bishop. And if it's not him, it's done for the year. It's going to be Jordan Poyer. He clearly doesn't trust Jordan Hancock. The defensive line, I think, is okay. The linebackers, they can't stay healthy, man. Bernard Milano, and, we already know this. Dorian Williams has been hurt a few times. I don't really think there's much that's going to change. What's not happening, Joe, that did happen last year, was this was a defense that took the football away. But they're not doing that this year. And when they do, they get a penalty to nullify it anyway. So, You know what I'm saying? So that's been a big issue. The defense wasn't that good last year. The difference was they got a lot of takeaways.
And, takeaways can be termed as being lucky sometimes. And the luck feels like it's running out on that side of the ball a little bit. I think, look, they got the bye coming up. I would love a trade, like I told you before. I think they're going to go back to base. They're going to go back in front of the offense, I think, more through James Cook. Because I think that's what they want to do. And they try to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's
well, look, you want Josh to be explosive and throw the football, but guess what? If you don't have receivers who don't get open, run the ball, man. Run the football, play action. That's what they're going to have to do. Ty and Handy in the live chat said Josh Allen is focused on his wife now. Well, he should be focused on his wife now. She's freaking hot, man. But look, Josh Allen's not playing well recently. At least not. He hasn't played to the Josh Allen standard. But I don't think it's from a lack of focus. I don't think it's a lack of effort. I don't think it's a lack of care. And it's certainly not, he does not lack the ability to take accountability because he stood up, unlike Tua, in the press conference after the scores. I was looking at some quotes, and he could have blamed injuries. He could have blamed a lot of things, and he put the shit on his own shoulders like he always does. He takes accountability. Yeah, but he's not playing, man. So, offensive line got bullied tonight. You've seen that a few times in the live chat. I absolutely agree. We talked about it. I think this was the worst performance of the offensive line by a lot this season. Last one here. Mark says we have a nostalgia defense. That kind of feels, I don't know, man.
I mean, look, it's a lot of mixed guys from you got Jordan Phillips, who had a terrible penalty tonight with the offsides thing where he tried to jump the count. And then you have Jordan Poyer playing, and I know you.
What are you doing? What do you expect from Jordan Phillips? What do you expect from Jordan Poyer? And I I am a Jordan Poyer guy.
Well, no, Jordan Poyer. But Jordan Phillips shouldn't be jumping off fucking sides.
Agreed.
Okay, don't be doing that.
He'll do it. He'll get another chance to do it because guess what? They can't have 4 healthy defensive tackles. Let me ask you this: we're going off the air now. Last question for you. This sucks. This game sucks. It's infuriating. I thought you had an excellent point early in the show where you said it felt like the Bills lost twice in one game. I completely agree. This defense was pathetic in the first half. This offense was pathetic in the second half. And it wasn't great in the first half either after that first drive where it looked great. Lots of negative things, lots of injuries, coaching issues, game planning issues, general manager decisions that are not looking so great as we are 6 games now into the Bills season. But going into a bye, which, by the way, I hated the bye. When the schedule came out, I'm like, holy shit, man, I do not like having a bye this early. Tell you what, this bye is coming at the perfect time. This team needs a bye right now. This team needs to get away for a week. They need to get healthier. They need to regroup. They need to figure some shit out, which my question to you is, are you confident that what's wrong with this team, they will figure out? And do you still feel like this is, as we go into a bye, do you still feel like this is a championship caliber roster?
Yeah, because I don't have a lot of confidence in the other teams around the league, or around the AFC at least. That's kind of why I'm a little bit I think they could. They do have to get healthy, as you said. I would like them to make a trade. Look, just to try to improve your roster. They have done this the last couple of deadlines with Cooper, Douglas. They did that. They tried to do it with Naheem Hines, and he had those kickoff returns, and then he ended up, going fucking Gilligan's Island or whatever the hell happened to him. But yeah, I think they're still there. And look, it sucks. It's a shitty game. They better beat Carolina. I'll say that. And Carolina looked. I mean, they played Dallas. Dallas has a terrible defense, so they do have to get healthy. The Bills, and I just think that I don't know. I keep going back and forth where their bigger issues with the offense or defense. Like I said, I agree in a way that I do think, and I go back and forth. The defense is a bigger issue in terms of, but I would rather help my bell cow elite quarterback who is signing the checks basically for everyone. That's kind of how I feel.
You're not alone in that.
You know what I mean? Get the poor guy another wide receiver, please.
Jeremy White could be an interesting listen this week on WGR. I'll say that, man.
Sure, he's gonna be.
Listen. It's not it's not local people now talking about, it's not just local people, I should say, talking about the Bills wide receiver and lack of separation. I thought it was a prominent discussion often on this broadcast, which again, I thought was excellent on ESPN tonight, that these receivers just don't win on the outside. I mean, Reddick said that, Orlovsky said that. And I don't know, there was one play real quick. I can't remember if Josh threw an interception or not. I don't think so. But there was one play. There were 3 Bills guys. Maybe it was the interception. I can't remember, but the first one. There were 3 guys from the Bills within 5-6 yards of each other on the field, like in a route. I'm like, what are they doing? I was yelling at my wife about that at one. I was yelling at my wife about a lot of shit in this fucking game
Why
tonight,
are you yelling
man.
at your wife?
Oh,
What the
by the
hell's
way,
wrong?
well, it's because, by the way, it's also our anniversary. I'll point that
my
out.
God.
24 years
And you're
of
spending it
bliss.
with me?
24 years of bliss with some Bella Pizza takeout before the game, and watching the Buffalo Bills play an absolutely brutally shit game in primetime, which, by the way, the Bills were so great in primetime, dude. This is 2 games in a row they've lost where they didn't look good doing it and where Josh Allen did not look so great in primetime, man. Cause for concern. What's your worry meter? Between 1 and 10 as we get off the air here. What's your worry meter?
5. 5.
5.
5.
Okay.
I still think they're going to make the playoffs. New England's a bit of a wild card. I don't want to buy them too much because I feel like the national media, if there's one thing they love doing, they love blowing Boston teams, and they're gonna like really bring up like New England being great. Like, look, they beat the Bills, fine, but they beat the Saints. Like, let's not. Come on, the Saints aren't very good. Like, so we'll see. But look, the AFC is still, in my opinion, very wide open. You know, like what? The Colts are the best team in the AFC right now, but record wise, I mean, you're worried about Daniel fucking Jones. Like, come on. Like, they still have it. They have to get healthy. They also have to get one more player. I would really like them to get another player. Get someone. There's got to be a shitty player. There's got to be a great player who's in a shitty situation. You know,
maybe this might, if there's a silver lining in this game at all, if there's a silver lining in the last 2 weeks, Joe, you might get your wish, because if Brandon Beane and Sean and Joe Brady and all these guys are being honest with themselves when they're watching this film back these last couple of weeks, I think they need to recognize that they need another receiver. My concern is that they're going to look at this game and say, well, you know what? It's because we didn't have Kincaid and Samuel. And if those guys are out there, it matters. Or if Palmer doesn't get hurt. I think that's going to be, I'm afraid that that's what they're going to arrive at. It's not that like I'm not with you. It's not that I don't think that the Bills should add a wide receiver. I want the Bills very much to add a wide receiver. I just don't have confidence that they're going to do it. I think this is going to be we're going to roll with what we have, and I think that we could play better and we're going to win. Last comment here. Bills 020169. I'm going to refrain from using the dirty language in here, but otherwise, this is a good point. He goes, every year they use injuries as an excuse on defense. I'm effing over it. Maybe if we didn't draft tiny, undersized linebackers or defensive backs, they wouldn't get injured all the time, because that's the kind of guy that fit McDermott's bullshit scheme. Did you tweet that? Did you put that in the live chat while we were on the air?
First of all, I can't believe you wouldn't say the word fucking. I mean, you swore like 17 times.
Yeah, but those are, I don't do it. I don't premeditatedly do it. It just comes out of my mouth sometimes, man.
All right, let's end this show because I'm tired.
Yeah, I agree. I'm tired. I do thank everybody. 1,500 people
for those 10 seconds. I said you should go make love to your wife on her anniversary for those 10 seconds of thrill that you'll offer her.
Well, it'll be 10 seconds of more thrill than we got watching this game tonight. Let's just put it that way. So thank you, everybody in the live chat. Did not have a show yesterday. I'll get into that more tomorrow. I
could have busted your balls.
I was under the weather. Let's just leave it at that. I will have a show on. I'll have a show on Saturday. I think we'll have a what's it called? The pod bag. I'll do something on Saturday to kind of make up for that. But I will be on tomorrow. Matt Warren from SB Nation joins me. We're going to do our positional analysis and grade show. And I'll tell you what, if Matt's soft on this team, I might go after him harder than I went after Joe Brady at the beginning of this podcast, because there's very freaking little that was good about this game. But anyway, for Joe from Queens, I'm Patrick. Thank you for listening, especially everybody who came in the live chat. Appreciate you guys very much. Be back, brand new show tomorrow.